My parents kicked me and my son out of Thanksgiving over my sister, then I took back control. My parents tossed me and my son out of Thanksgiving like we didn't belong there, just because my sister decided she didn't want me around. I still remember the words, "You're not welcome at our family gathering." That stung. But what they seem to forget is this: I'm the one who's been quietly paying their bills for the past 5 years. So, I pulled the plug. And what followed? Let's just say it left them absolutely stunned. But before I dive into all that, let me say this: I've noticed the channel's been slowing down a bit lately. If you're here and you like these stories, hitting that subscribe button is the easiest way to show support. It's fast, it's free, and it really helps keep this community growing strong. Hey there! I'm Vivian, 35 years old, a single mom raising the best 10-year-old kid you'll ever meet. His name's Eli. And this last Thanksgiving? That was the breaking point. It was the moment everything that had been simmering under the surface finally boiled over. For years, I've been swallowing my pride, giving more of myself than I had to give, both emotionally and financially, only to be tossed aside like I meant nothing. But what my family conveniently overlooked is that I've been the quiet reason they're still living in that house, still making their car payments, still living comfortably like nothing's wrong. So when they booted me out of Thanksgiving just to keep my sister happy, I finally reminded them exactly who they'd been taking for granted. To understand how it all blew up like this, you've got to know where it started. See, I was never the favorite growing up. That crown has always belonged to my younger sister, Harper. She's 32 now, chronically irresponsible, endlessly dramatic, and somehow treated like a queen no matter what mess she makes. Harper's the type to dive headfirst into toxic relationships, rack up debt like it's a hobby, and still twist everything so she comes out looking like the poor, helpless victim. And of course, everyone else scrambles to rescue her. Me? I got pregnant at 24. The father bailed before Eli was even born, and not once did I see a penny in child support. I hustled, worked 3 jobs at one point. I bartended, delivered groceries, and helped out at a small accounting firm just to make ends meet, until I finally landed a steady job. My parents never gave me much help during those years. A little babysitting here and there, and only when it fit into their plans. But everything changed 5 years ago when Dad had a health scare and lost his job, and Mom's hours got cut. That's when I stepped up. And I don't mean I helped out now and then, I mean I took over everything. I paid the mortgage, kept the lights on, handled the property taxes, paid for both their car insurances, all of it was under my name. And through all of that, I never complained. Not once. I love my parents, and I didn't want to see them lose the roof over their heads. By then, I was making good money, not enough to spoil myself or Eli, but enough to manage. We had this quiet understanding. I'd keep them afloat, and in return, they'd hold the family together. I just didn't realize that family didn't always include me when it wasn't convenient for them. Harper, who's never paid a single bill in her life, is somehow always the center of attention at our family holidays. She'll show up late, cry about some guy who dumped her or how she's drowning in credit card debt, and my parents fawn over her like she's fragile crystal. Meanwhile, I'd bring a homemade pie, show up on time with gifts in hand, and barely get a smile. But this Thanksgiving? This was the year everything finally cracked. Eli and I walked in carrying a roasted turkey breast I'd cooked just for the 2 of us. Last year, Harper had guilt-tripped everyone into not serving meat because she suddenly went vegetarian, so I made sure to prepare a small one just for me and Eli to avoid the drama. I didn't want any trouble, I just wanted a nice holiday with my son. But the minute we stepped through the door, I could feel the coldness in the air. My mom wouldn't even look me in the eye. I hadn't even set the tray down when Harper waltzed into the kitchen with her signature fake gasp and said, "Oh, I thought you weren't coming." I just stared at her. Why wouldn't I come? It's Thanksgiving. She shot a quick look toward our mom, then said in that high-pitched, whiny voice of hers, "I told Mom and Dad I wouldn't stay if you came. I just can't handle your energy right now." My energy? I turned to my mother, expecting her to shut that nonsense down right then and there. Instead, she gently placed a hand on my arm and said, "Vivian, maybe this year just isn't a good time. Harper's been having a rough few weeks, and we're just trying to keep the peace." I could feel my hands trembling. Eli stood beside me, holding the pie he'd made the night before with so much pride, smiling up at me like he'd done something special. "You're asking me to leave?" I asked, barely above a whisper. That's when my dad walked in, voice firm, like it was some kind of business transaction. "It's nothing personal. Just let your sister have this one day. You know how sensitive she is." Eli looked up at me, confused. Did we do something wrong? I couldn't even get the words out. My chest felt like it was being crushed. I slowly reached out, took the pie from Eli's little hands, and quietly set it on the counter. "Come on, sweetie. Let's go," I said softly to Eli. Nobody tried to stop me, not one person in that house. I didn't cry, didn't yell, didn't make a scene. I just walked out with my son, got in the car, and drove straight home. Once there, I popped some leftover mac and cheese in the microwave, and we settled in on the couch to watch Home Alone. Eli didn't complain once. He's used to feeling more like a visitor than part of the family by now. But that night, something inside me shifted. I went over to my desk and opened a file labeled Parents. Inside were stacks of bills, mortgage statements, utility invoices, car insurance papers, all in my name. I'd been silently managing all of it for years. I realized I could just cut them off immediately if I wanted to, but I wasn't going to act out of spite. No, I wanted to be calculated. The very next morning, I set up a meeting at the bank to officially stop paying their mortgage. I called the utility companies and told them my cards would no longer cover their bills. They'd have to update the accounts with new payment info before the end of the month. I gave them my parents' contact details. I canceled the auto-renewal on their insurance and transferred the title of their sedan, technically mine, back to myself. They could keep the old truck. That felt like a fair break, given everything. Then I sent a short, polite message in the family group chat. Hi everyone, after giving this a lot of thought, I've decided to shift my priorities and will no longer be handling the financial responsibilities for mom and dad's household. Effective December 1st, they will need to take over all payments. I'll be transferring the relevant accounts this week. Best, Vivian. Crickets. Not a single reply. Then, 3 days later, the storm hit. Mom called me, sobbing and breaking down completely. Vivian, why would you do this? We're not ready. What are we supposed to do without the mortgage paid? The lights? The internet? I stayed calm and said, I'm not welcome at your family party. I'm guessing that means I'm not part of the family anymore. So I'm just making sure I'm not carrying the responsibilities of a daughter when I'm not being treated like one. She hesitated, trying to explain, we didn't mean it like that, you know. Harper, she's going through a lot right now. I cut her off. I've been going through a lot too, Mom. But no one ever asked how I was doing. No one protected me, not even when you saw how Harper treated me. I'm done being the backup plan. Later that evening, Dad called. He tried to sound calm, but I could hear the anger simmering just beneath his voice. You're punishing us because of your sister? No, I said firmly. I'm holding you accountable. You made your choice. Now I'm making mine. Then I hung up. What followed was pure chaos. Harper called me, crying 1 minute, accusing me of tearing the family apart the next. I ignored every call. Mom sent Eli a Christmas card with no money inside, just a passive-aggressive note hoping he wouldn't be too cold this winter without a real family. But I wasn't cold. For once, I felt warm. Not because I was bending over backward for everyone else, but because I finally chose myself. 2 weeks after Thanksgiving, the silence from my parents was deafening. But what came next caught me off guard. A certified letter showed up at my door, addressed to me, from my parents. I opened it slowly, heart pounding. Inside the envelope was a cold, formal letter filled with legal jargon. It basically said that since I had willingly taken on managing the house's finances, they expected me to keep doing it. If I stopped paying, it would cause them serious hardship. They even threw in something about a moral obligation and claimed I had no right to take back the car since it had been given to them. I laughed at that. Then I cried. And after that, I called my lawyer. See, I never actually handed over the car to anyone. It was registered in my name, insured by me, and I had text messages from my dad thanking me for letting him borrow it until further notice. As for the house, the mortgage had been refinanced 5 years ago using my credit because Dad's credit was terrible at the time. They couldn't have gotten approved without me. Every single payment came from my bank account. Their names weren't even on the updated paperwork. My lawyer told me they didn't have any legal ground to stand on. I wasn't evicting them, I was just stopping my financial support. But he did advise me to move quickly to protect my name and assets. So, I filed for full control over the property, giving me the power to sell or rent it out, and I sent them a 60-day notice. That's when the real fireworks began. Harper completely lost it. She posted a long rant on Facebook accusing me of trying to make our elderly parents homeless and ripping the family apart out of spite. She threw in pictures of old family holidays, smiling faces, everyone looking happy, and called me mentally unstable and obsessed with control. I didn't respond, but Eli saw the post. He came into my room holding his tablet, eyes wide and hurt. Why is Aunt Harper saying you're mean? My stomach twisted. I pulled him close and told him, sometimes when people are scared of what's coming, they say mean things to make themselves feel better. He nodded, not totally understanding but trusting me anyway. That trust gave me the strength to keep going. Christmas came and went with no calls, no visits. Eli and I baked cookies, drank hot cocoa, and played board games. Honestly, it was the most peaceful holiday I'd had in 10 years. By mid-January, my lawyer gave me the green light. Since I was the only one responsible for the property and could prove I was still financially supporting it, I could move forward with reclaiming it or forcing a sale. So I sent my parents another official notice. 3 days later, Mom showed up at my apartment, not to say sorry or make amends, but to beg. Her eyes were red, but her voice was sharp. We raised you. We gave you everything. And now you're kicking us out. I looked her straight in the eye. You didn't even let me stay for dinner. Her lips tightened. Harper is fragile, she said. What about me, Mom? Did you ever think if I'm fragile? Or if Eli needed family that night? She stayed silent. Then she tried the last card, guilt. You'll regret this. One day, it'll be gone, and you'll wish you could take it all back. I said nothing, didn't yell or cry. I just shut the door in her face. 6 weeks later, the house was empty. They didn't fight the final notice, probably because they finally accepted the truth. Both legally and morally, they had no case. I sold the house and used part of the money to take Eli on a vacation we dreamed about for years, a snowy cabin up north. Justice, too, came in the form of sledding, building snowmen, and way too much hot chocolate, he told me one night by the fire. This is the best time I've ever had, he said. Even better than all those Christmases at Grandma's that almost broke me. But this time, it wasn't breaking me, it was healing. Harper never apologized. A few months later, she sent a short message accusing me of destroying the family for money. I blocked her. As for my parents, they moved in with one of Mom's sisters who, surprise, surprise, wasn't exactly thrilled to have them. I heard through a cousin that things are still tense back there. They can't believe I actually went through with it. But I did. Because sometimes the only way to break the cycle is to walk away and never look back. And no, I don't regret it. Not even for a second. Eli and I have built something better, something stronger, something real. Because family isn't just about who you're born into. It's about who shows up, who stays, who loves you without strings attached. And for the very first time in my life, that family is us. As Eli's laughter echoed beside me, I realized something important. I didn't lose a family that day. What I lost was the illusion of one. And by letting go of that, I found everything we truly needed.